Thor reacts to Hypa Hypa. This looks incredibly German or Deutsch. It's been just sustig, right? I am addicted, guys. I really loved We Got the Moves, guys. Like seriously, crazy into it. Like it's it's crazy because I mean, to be very, very frank here, okay, I only of course react to bands that I actually enjoy, right? You know, if I like it, I check it out and I keep doing it, right? If I enjoy the music, I hate anything with cloud chasing or whatnot. That means crazy to me, right? But some songs, just to be very frank here, right? I listen to them, right? And I might put them in my playlist and I listen to them every now and again, right? And they come back to me and so forth, right? But it doesn't have to be kind of like addicting or like, you know. But Jesus Christ, guys, genuinely, Electric Callboy, We Got the Moves. And I've had this song now, like an hour every day in my video. Like every day I'm like, we got it, I put it on, you know. I go to the gym, I'm like, we got the moves. like it has been come on so immediately fell in love with this band. Immediately. I was like, oh my god, this is so addictive. One of the best bands I've ever heard, right? Of course, I found them from doing the Babymetal Ratata, right? Which also, of course, I really like that. Like I said, right, when I did, because I like Babymetal, but I said that video, that is my favorite Babymetal. I said immediately, I was like, I'm sorry. You know, I was like, yeah, Gimme chocolate or whatever. And I was like, this is the best song they ever did. I was like, this is the best song. This is my favorite metal song now. And I always felt a little bit, like, guilty, right? Whatever you call it, right? You know, a little bit guilty there. Because I felt like, this is just so good because I like this like Eurovision, German, Euromix, metal, something like that, right? So they pushed it out, their most famous song, and I was like, oh my god, I'm really loving because yeah, I have listened to this. Is, I mean, of all the music that I've done, right, to like I was a Japanese bands, to be fair. This is by far number one. That I'm like, yes. But it kind of reminds me of a few months ago. So I've done a lot of Band-Maid. I really like Band-Maid. I like them. I like a lot of their songs. But like I said in my last Band-Maid video, same thing there with What Is Justice, okay? So what I like Band-Maid, right? And I come back to the song every now and then by my own accord, right? After my videos. What Is Justice? Same thing there. That has become one of my all-time favorite songs. After I made my video, I have listened to it like 10,000 times. Because I listen to that song like every day, probably like an hour. So that's usually how it works. It's like one song you get stuck in your head, like, and yeah. So I'm very, very now hyped here to Korshi, right? If it's been more, you know, it's more sustig with more Electric Callboy. And of course, if you like the video, subscribe, smash that button, and I will speak more Deutsch in every video. I feel like I'm gonna go over and be more and more Deutsch, right? The more I make the videos. But I have to say this thing, though, and I just want to be very clear here. It is hard, honestly, to speak, I feel, German than Deutsch in a video, okay? Not because I wouldn't say that I'm perfectly fluent in German. I studied for 6 years, right? My brother dated a German woman for many years. So my sister-in-law kind of thing was a German lady, and I don't know they're not together anymore. But you know, for like his like first real waifu, so to speak, right? For many years then, and so forth, right? And I have some family in Germany, etc. But the thing is that I was thinking about making the video. It's hard because it was the same way when I was doing Vinland Saga videos. And I was like, okay, let's be funny and let's do a Vinland Saga. It's an anime, right, about, you know, Vikings, right? So let's do it in Swedish and Norwegian. And I'm gonna change every episode between like Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. Like I speak, I'm gonna go back between them, right? But it generally was hard because, you know, I sit here, right, and I do these reaction and reviews and whatever, right, in English. Yesterday I did my Chainsaw Man review, right? Amazing movie. I love the movie. Freaking best movie here. And I'm so used, right, to do it in English. So even if I can't speak, you know, some Deutsch, right, my brain just turns off. My brain doesn't want to do it. My mouth doesn't want to do it. So even if I'm like a native Norwegian, Swedish tongue, right, my brain doesn't want to speak like Norwegian when I'm sitting down in my, you know, recording studio. My brain immediately is like English. You know what I mean? It's like we have to speak English. Yeah, it's like a weird thing. So so honestly, it's a struggle. Okay, it's a struggle. For example, in the last video in the comment section, I commented that my favorite German show as a kid was, of course, Kommissarie Rex, right? But that's what I mean. I feel like immediately when I say the word Kommissare, I'm just like, okay, is it Kommissar in German? Is it Kommissari? Or is it Kommissari? Suddenly, I'm like, Kommissari Gordon. Suddenly I'm trying to, you know, Kommissarie, and say in Swedish, like that. Suddenly I'm trying to butchering the word in all languages. But anyway, it's a great show about this badass schäfer, right? Schäfer is like I say. Before I make a video, guys, just one thing, okay? I had a dog, and he was a schäfer, okay? So at least that word I will never butcher, okay? Obviously that is shepherd, right, in English, a German shepherd dog. But in German, it's called, of course, a schäferhund, right? Same thing in Swedish. So I had a schäferhund crossbred with a Rottweiler. It was the most German dog ever, yeah. And he was a giant, okay? It's the greatest, nicest dog ever. And my father always joked about he was the most useless guard dog of all time. Because even though he was a massive unit, he was just under 60 kilograms, okay? So he was, because to get bigger, you know. The crossbreed between the Rottweiler and the Schäfer, it's like 10 extra kilograms, okay? It's massive. This dog was a giant, okay? It was bigger than me growing up, right? But he was the nicest dog of all time. He would never fight anyone. He used to be friendly with everyone. So he was the worst. My father was like, he's the biggest dog ever, but he's the nicest dog ever. He's completely pointless, yeah. He was the greatest dog ever. Quick side note, he was named after my father's favorite show as a kid. So his name was Zeb, after the course Zeb Macahan. So leave a comment below if you know what that TV show is, because in Swedish, that TV show is called Familjen Macahan, and I think it is also in German, like it's Macahan, like the Familjen Macahan or whatever, but that is not the actual original name in America. But it's a very, very famous, incredibly popular TV show in Europe, right? And it's not as popular actually in America, but in Europe, like in Sweden, it was gigantic. So my father loved the show. Zeb is like the main character, it's like the, you know, patriarch, it's like the oldest character, and my dad was like, that's the ultimate dog name. So I had a dog, I had a schäfer, that was named Zeb. Anyway, let's finally check out Electric Callboy. Okay, let's go. Okay, I like it. It's like, yeah, hot. Okay, first of all, obviously, I love the visual. You know I'm gonna love the visual, okay? And I don't say this because, like, I'm gonna pretend to be Uber German now, Uber Deutsch, right? But no, I love these visuals, right? And it tells me immediately, it throws me back into this, like, 80s, okay? This is my head. I'm thinking Miami Vice, right? The Mullet, right? Hockey Finish, called Swedish, right? So I'm thinking about Kenny Starr, I'm thinking about. I saw that later. But it feels like it's like classic 80s, right? Yeah, it's like kind of Miami in the 80s. And as a side note, top of the video, but my favorite place in America is Florida. You know, I love going to Florida. I was there this year for a few weeks. Not in Miami, then I was in northern Florida. I was in Pensacola. I was in Destin. If you know what that is, like Okaloosa, Destin. It's spring break, okay, basically. Spring break island. So this is what I'm thinking about. I'm like, yes. All jokes aside, though, that was really okay. So I was in Okaloosa, Destin, okay. So this here is a photo in Florida. Leave a comment below, you know where this is. It's a pretty famous place. From a local standpoint, I think. I've been there more than once, so it's like, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I love going to Florida. That's my favorite place in the USA. And that's what I think immediately with this music video, right? It's like going down Florida, driving a cool car, hot chicks, right? Like I said, it gives me massive Miami Vice vibes. This here, though, is from northern Florida, the spoiler, so if you figure out where it is, but it is a famous place in, like, the whole area is called after this thing, okay? Like, it's a restaurant, it's like the roof of the restaurant, and it's the same name of the restaurant of the region, basically, right? But that's what I think of immediately, yeah, and I love that stuff, you know, seriously, right? That's a lot of my childhood. Baywatch, of course, was huge when I was growing up, right? And also, of course, Knight Rider and so on. Yeah, that's the one I think of immediately. But I keep going. We have to go back because I had one as a kid. We have to go back. Okay, I have no idea what these are called, but I do recognize these things. I had these. Yeah, my mom bought me to my brother when I was like 8 or something. I've had these things. Yeah, this is weird. It's like a basic kid's toy, right? You throw this thing like a sticky ball, and they get stuck. She's kind of holding it up for her tits, or I guess. So it's like some, like I guess it's some innuendos here. But yeah, I remember having these as a child. And I don't know what they're called, and they're super boring, honestly, right? They're kind of boring, okay? Thor was not pleased by it. No, but seriously, right? It's kind of like throwing a dart or something, right? But it's less entertaining, because dart has... I mean, I actually think dart is a pretty interesting... And I had a dart, of course, what's it called? A dart board. As a kid as well. Yeah, we had a dart board in our house, of course. And I think dart is a pretty decent, sport, because, it's a lot of skill, but also it's strategy. You throw out the number of points, right? So dart makes it interesting. With this game, I think you have to throw it, and the point is that the ball, right, has different colors. So I'm covering the ball, but yeah, the ball has different colors, right? And the thing is that you have to hit, like, the red side of the sticky ball towards the red plate, right? So that ball, I think, would be maybe a point, because it's touching the red stuff with the red a little bit, but it's also mostly white there. But it has the green as well, I guess. Yeah, it's a little bit like dart for kids, so that's what I feel about it, because you think about it, it's a little bit skill how to throw the ball, but you know what I mean, it's very like, yeah, it's like dart for dummies, right? So this was like one thing, but seriously, man, my mom buying this stuff, and this is one of the things, you play it for 5 minutes, right? Then you go back playing video games, or just playing darts instead. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that was great. First of all, I feel like they found the hottest woman in Germany to make this video. Yeah, like seriously, she's probably Swedish, but honestly, I just love the lyrics here. This also I feel is again very German, or kind of generally the European feel to it, right? And it does remind me of something in Sweden or whatever. Right? The lyrics here is like, you're alone on the dance floor. Because I think we've all been there, right? I think we've all been there. Going to university, as we call it. College is for more, right? Go to the university, right? This is a feeling that I remember so well, right? So I'm like 18, 19, you know what I mean? And you're partying at university, you're there all night, and this feeling, right? It's like 3, maybe 4 a.m. in the morning, right? You've been partying all night, and then it's like one woman left on the dance floor, and she's hot, and you're like, yes, this is easy. You're like, I'm gonna score. I'm just coming home from the chainsaw man, okay? He's like, my inner dandy is like, yeah. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be easy. but seriously, come on, guys. Let's be honest here, and this is all actually isn't gender specific, right? I think it's for either gender, or you can be trans or whatever doesn't matter, right? Yeah, if he's like one person left on the dance floor, you're like, oh yeah, yeah, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dance with her, right? Because then it's like, someone is kind of thirsty, right? Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is the ultimate moment here. That's how this feels. I really get the lyrics, because I've been there many times, You sit there for a while. Another classic way, right, to get laid or whatever, I feel during those years, your formative years as a young person, right, is also used to kind of stay out there. Yeah, honestly, right, because you either go, right, like I said here, and you dance with the last guy or woman or whatever, right, or a hot chick or whatever, at this dance place. But another strategy, you don't even have to dance, honestly. I definitely scored in a similar way, you're staying out, right, like until you close, you know what I mean? Until like, usually it's around 3 or 4, and you kind of like stay, and people go home or whatever. Eventually, at like 2 or so, roughly speaking, usually, you can usually sit down at a place, right, like take the corner somewhere, right, at like some club, and you can usually find some person there. Yeah, it's so much easier, right? It's like the best times, honestly. Now think about it, I think it is, and this is what I mean, the lyrics here really speaks to me, they really do, because the best times, right, when you go to these party places, right, is in the beginning and in the end, right? It's like the first half hour, before it gets crowded, right? And again, then obviously here you're the last girl, yeah, at the end, right? But a few people left, right? When it's like the last half hour, that's after they close, and the first half hour. Honestly, it's like a stock market, okay? That's how it is. Clubbing is like a stock market. Because the stock market is exactly the same. Genuinely, I used to work in stock market. Stock market is exactly the same. You have power hour, right? And you have opening hours. Opening hours, everyone's like, buy, right? And then it's like selling and so on. And then it basically doesn't move that much for like the middle hours, right? Then the last half to hour, everyone's like, sell, buy, sell, you know. And that's like power hour, right? Because then everyone's like, we have to score an hour. That is exactly how a nightclub is. A nightclub is exactly like the freaking stock market, because this is how it is. You either meet a chick, right, it's waifu, where you go there, and it's kind of empty, you can talk to her and ask a question to her, you might be able to shop her, right? Or it's like the half people left, right, and all the crazy stuff is over, and then some people are left, and you can have an actual conversation or dance or whatever, but you can have an actual kind of more a moment with someone, right? That's actually only like the first half hour. Oh my god. I never thought about it before. I just talked to my friend, and she's like, oh, I bought so much Google stocks. Maybe that's why. And Google is my biggest hole, whatever. Fully closer. But I was like, oh my god. I feel like I'm having a revelation here, genuinely. I never thought about it before. Obviously, my channel is all about having ingenious revelations. So subscribe, guys, because I will have that video. But Jesus Christ, man, I don't think I ever thought about it before. But I genuinely, when I go on these part places, right, when I'm growing up, I would act exactly like I do in the stock market. Yeah. I will buy all the stuff. This is how it works, though, because you go into a bar and you see that hot chick that shakes beam. This is exactly how it is. I feel like I just took like genius pills here, even more than usual, right? Because this is exactly how it is, right? Honestly, you enter a bar, you know what I mean? You enter a bar, or discotheque, and you see the hot chick, like, you know, oh my god, that is my type, man. She got huge abs, right? Muscular. She got a tomboy feature. Right? She's a Yankee, a gyro, whatever, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, she's a blonde gyro over here with some Yankee vibes. You're like, oh, that's my kind of woman! You know? No, but seriously, right? That's how it is. Right? You enter the bar, you spot a woman that you really want to smash, right? You're like, okay, she's kind of my, yeah, that's my thing, you know? That's how it is. And then you spend basically the whole night just hoping to kind of talk with her, right? Hoping to dance with her, right? You know? You spend like the last 5 hours trying to get it, right? And this kind of feeling, this music feeling is me. Because if you're lucky that she's just gonna stay around, you know, when everyone has started leaving. So you kind of can, you know, or of course, you might be able to leave it her earlier. But in my point, the dream is this thing, right? If you're failing, so to speak, in the beginning, right? That's what I mean in the stock market. If you fail in the first half an hour, right, to score with her, right, then this, like the music video, is lyrics is a second bit, right? You're hoping for your second chance, right? When it's like kind of empty and you can talk to her and with her by yourself, yeah, and you can have an actual, like, you know, genuine meet with her. Right? That's kind of what you're waiting for. But I mean, it really is this feeling to it, because you enter a bar and you usually spot the person that you want to try to seduce, right, almost immediately. And again, no, I'm talking from a man, a shad perspective, right? But I think for women, it's the same thing, right? You spot a guy that you like basically immediately. I think I ever, yeah, I think it's very, very rarely have I go into any similar place, bar, disco, whatever, right? And I see like, 30 ladies, and I'll be like, I'm unsure if I like the blonde chick or the brunette, or, and then I spend like 5 hours like contemplating, like, who should I talk to? Yeah, they're all kind of pretty. Who should I talk to? There's never been me, right? I don't think people should think that. No, I think it's much more reasonable. You enter the place and you see this hot freaking the chick is badass. I look at the tattoos, man. She's just my type, right? And then you just try to score with her the whole evening. Yeah, basically, right? That's kind of it is. Yeah, that's just my type. Yeah, I want her. Right? That's kind of how it works. And then every other woman's like, whatever. I mean, sure. To be fair, sure, of course. It might be like 5 really, really attractive women that is your type, right? But you know what I mean. Maybe it's more than one of them that you like. But you get my point. The other 50 women doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? In that mental state, you kind of like, this is the only 5 people I'm looking at right now, right? And then if she reacts to you, then the other 4 you would try to fluff it, right? Yeah, that's kind of how it works, right? And it's kind of like whatever. So that's what I mean in stock market too, because when people started leaving, right? People started going home, so whatever, that means that it kind of just removes all the noise, right? It removes all the extra bits on the surroundings, right? And you're hoping that, of course, the one of the chicks that you checked out in the beginning will stay for the party, right? Like, I feel this song speaks to me. I got a revelation here. No, but it is really that feeling, right? I think we go to this bar as well. She's really hot though, hottest German woman ever, yeah. Oh, this is great. I love it. Okay, this last bit was crazy, yeah. What happened to the hot chick? Yeah, the last bit certainly was very hyper. It was very, very hyper. Of course, hyper is like, you know, hyper, right? Something that is exciting. I guess in Japanese, if you call it genki, right? Yeah, it'd be like genki. Yeah, it's like yeah, exciting. That's kind of how you say it. I think in most Germanic languages, you tend to add the a afterwards. Yeah. So Swedish is the same thing. Norwegian too. When you take an English word, you kind of add like an a. Yeah. So Hypa, it works in Swedish too, yeah. You take the word English and you call it like, or Hypa, or yeah. It's kind of how it does a lot, I think, in our language kind of system, right? I had to put it on, man. Oh, I love this so much, man. I love this intro. Oh my god. Do. So here the little bit here, you know. Do this little slinger, yeah, this part. I'm a little bit worried for copyright, as I've played the whole song here from Miami Vice, but I don't know how that works on YouTube, whatever. But Miami Vice then, super iconic, like 80s show. Obviously when I see this Hypa, I keep thinking Miami Vice, right? I think it's the color thing, the purple stuff too, the hair, the clothing, right? But here's the intro, jump a little bit here. Look at this, now this is TV, man. This is TV, guys. Oh yes. Oh my god, it moves! But yeah, I think it's the colors, right? I think it's the colors, it's the purple, it's the violet, right? You know, it's like the purple light is flashing behind them, like, you know, it's doing an epilepsy attack, and in disco, you know, it's like this thing feeling, right? And the layers are very kind of star colors and the dancing, so that's what this always screams to me, and I think it comes from this kind of, you know, movies and culture or whatever, right? And I actually talked about it with my brother about this actually, when it comes to culture, right? I think it's very important to understand too, that's like a really old man now, but let me be an old man for a moment here, right, okay? Is that Miami Vice is one of these gigantic culture thing, right? Because it really like put, you know, Miami and Florida on the world stage, right, you know? Before we had a TV show, no one, for example in Sweden and Germany, whatever, right? I don't think we kind of knew what Miami was in Florida, right? Florida is some place over in America, right? This TV show was so gigantic that it gave us like this clothing and this feeling of music. Okay, this is how like you party in America, right? It gave us a feeling. If anything, the biggest thing though, you know, somewhat rated, is obviously of course Saturday Night Fever on Travolta. That movie just was so big that it made disco become like a big on the whole planet, right? Anyway, the Test of My Brother was about this partially. We discussed like, and this is our theory that I think you give me, is that nothing today can have this big cultural impact, I would say, right? Nothing today is as big that it can take so much, like, basically market shares, right? So especially that with both Grease and also Saturday Night with John Travolta, those two movies were so gigantically massive, right? And so even if today, there are other movies that have sold way more tickets or whatnot, right? But for its time, there was so high percentage of every like moviegoer had gone to those movies that it had like a massive cultural impact. Today it feels like even the biggest movie today will only have, a small pie, so to speak, comparably to the whole, all of the, possible viewers, right? I think it's a big switch, right? Especially with all Netflix and HBO and Amazon Prime, whatever, right? That everyone has at the home. You're gonna have basically, 30 years ago, if you had like a new TV show coming out and it was gigantic, like Miami Vice, and it was super popular, it was like everyone was watching it, right? My mom, my dad, my grandma, everyone was watching this show, right? Miami Vice was massive, and it feels like the guys here might be inspired by this, but I'm thinking, whatever. My point is that it was so massive, and it was like everyone watching the show, right? But today, a similar, like really popular TV show is gonna be 10 others, right? Coming on the same day, right? So even if they might have like more total viewers, right? In total, it's like 10 million, right? But it used to be that every of 1 million, everyone would watch one TV show, and now it's like you have 100 million viewers. But it's like, divided by 10 people, 10 million doing X, 10 million doing Y, and so on. So the percentage is much, much smaller. So nothing has that, like, gigantic cultural impact that I think these kind of culture had during that time, right? And that kind of, blew over into Germany and so on, that to do this kind of, purple lighting and disco and so on, driving around with the cool, hockey frilla and so forth, right? I have to say, though, it's kind of funny that she is just straight up just my type, yeah. I was like, these are just the kind of women I love, man. She got the pink hair, right? And as everyone knows, pink hair women are all serial killers. This is a thing that I learned from anime, that if they have pink hair, they're going to be a genre serial killer, 100%, okay? And she got a demon tattoo in her stomach, right, on her abs, and that is probably Baphomet. He's the goat evil demon guy, right? He's for that black character in Berzerker and so on, right? Obviously, I don't know about Baphomet, so forth, right? And yeah, I do love women with tattoos. It's like a huge thing for me, absolutely. So I mean, like half-ass joking. It does feel like they found the hottest German, like they found the hottest woman in Germany. They were like, we have to make this video popular. Yeah, I was like, how do we find someone? But I want to point out something though, and maybe I was wrong in my memory, but she really, really reminds me. Yes, her scenes really reminds me of Mel in American Dad, okay? So Mel is obviously the hottest character in American Dad. There's only one episode though, and she's like Stan's grease monkey. She's the one that fixed his car, She got tattoos all over the place now. She got a tattoo, going down into her private parts. You can drive on the private, it's too stupid, right? And she's always like, doing all this like, oh, I'm gonna grease up your car and so on. Yeah. She's standing there, you're like, oh yeah, oh Stan, you're driving so fast, so oh yeah. Lot of power in this engine, right? Yeah, she got the similar hair and so on. Jesus Christ, man. Just not that pink hair, she's not a serial killer, but yeah, she really reminds me of Mel in American Dad, seriously. Yeah, this really reminds me of this other classic video game, right? Outrunner. And I'm feeling goddamn old, man. I'm making these videos now. I'm like, hey, have you ever played this game? This is an old classic game you're driving. This is what I mean. It's like a game you're driving a car in like Florida, right? You're sitting there cruising, and it's like a race, and it's like cool music, and you're like, yeah, and it's like, this is like old, video game from the 80s. That was like trying to, have this feeling, right? You're kind of driving, in some hot chicks, you're like, yeah, that feeling, man. Amazing game ever. That's probably the thing this thing lacks, though, honestly, right? Is that I think in the classic Outrunner and of course similar motives, right? It's obviously one guy and one girl, right? You have you're driving the car, you're hot chick, you're like that's that's how the game is, right? Like you have your hot wife with you in the car, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, that actually, I'm truth out, guys. This is almost the perfect music video. The issue, of course, it should have ended, right? But she should have been in the car in the end, right? The last 5 seconds should have been the guy driving away with her instead in the car, right? Having his hands over her shoulder, right? And he's like, yeah, the last girl at... Yeah, that should have been the ending. Am I the only one? Now when I see it, I hate this movie or whatever. This is terrible. Now, yeah, I'm disappointed, but... it's so obvious. That's how it should end. It should have scored, right? You should have woken up in his bedroom and then he drives her home, you know, in his hot car. Then, you know, like, am I the only one? Like, where's the bad? Skype is obvious now. See you another 10 music video. I'm quitting, guys. Anyway, another video. Please subscribe, press the like button, and if you're interested in something super manly, you should really check out Chainsaw Man. I made a video yesterday about it. I think it's the best movie this year. I'm throwing it out here. I really loved it. It was amazing. I think one reason I do love it though is because the author for that manga, of course, but yeah, he's very into this old stuff, right? He likes old American movies. He likes this kind of like Miami Vice, right? And there was some amazing scenery in that movie. It only was just like, you know, fighting and explosions and ass or whatever. It also was like actual, like really well crafted direction. So I actually kind of preferred the middle of the movie when it was like this red thing. I won't spoil it, but it was beautiful. It's beautiful, yeah. And it was very condensed too. The race arc starts, ends in the whole movie. Whatever, I'm just nerding out now. But it was like a, yeah, to make an hour video yesterday, but yeah, it truly was an amazing movie. I think a lot of people are just like, you know, they lasted, but I think a lot of people will just like hype up those kind of movies, right? Because it's so popular, because it was the most popular anime of all times. Everyone's gonna be like, oh, it's the best movie ever, blah 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 blah, right? But I actually genuinely feel that, right? And it's not easy to say, but you know what I mean? I actually genuinely feel that it was like a 10 out of 10 movie. I was genuinely like, oh my god, this movie's amazing, you know what I mean? I genuinely feel that, and it feels kind of silly to sit there now and be like, I feel it's almost hard, right, to get that across to people, right? Because I feel like everyone else, and this sounds like I'm super salty now, but I'm just saying it in a general mindset, right? It just feels like everyone else, necessarily not everyone, but most of them, are you saying this is the best movie ever, right? To get clicks and likes and subs, right? But I'm just like, no, but I actually did love the movie, right? I mean, but I'm like, I'm not faking it. I actually did love it. I was like, my god, it's so good. You know, I told like my brother, my sister, like, you have to watch this movie. I told my coworkers that, oh, it's the best movie this year. It's amazing, right? It's the best thing ever. I'm actually like that, okay? I'm still saying that, yeah. I was like, we actually did love it. Like, I actually love it if it reads. Jesus Christ. Anyway, see you guys and have a good day.